What is up? This is the Keyholing podcast with Lemon. This week we are getting plastic pilled with arguably one of the most prolific 3D printers. He's constantly putting cool and funny stuff out. Super cool range spreads. You see this here on your screen if you're looking. Tons of fun guns. Whoa, shut it down. At Rights of Refusal. How is it going, man?
What's up, my dude?
I see here again. This is an episode you should have to go look, or at least go follow him on X, Twitter, if you don't already. He posts guns all the time. I'm talking about multiple times a week, tons of cool guns. Most recently, the Recession Ruger, which looks fantastic. The most recent one, and then recently you've been shooting the High Point as well, right?
Yeah, so it's this frame by Lukewarm Designs, and he had like a couple High Point related releases. Like he did some panels. I don't remember what else he did, but he basically decided to take, I don't know if it was based off the Low Point or if he just kind of like took some pointers from it and crafted his own from scratch. But man, like, I can't tell you how awesome it is to finally have a printable High Point frame that you can assemble and it just fucking works. Because I've tried almost every frame that you could possibly think of within the past 4 years or so, about 3 years. And man, like, I got one to almost kind of run, but this thing, so I'm part of the beta. It's called the EBT. Right now, I think it's just for the C9 380. He's been adding a bunch of cool shit too, like a custom feeder, because I was having a mag that was having trouble locking back. It just wasn't like catching all the way. Because the thing with High Points is that because they're so cheap, the tolerances are just all over the place. So that was one of the main issues with like the Low Point and other frames, is that like the designer for their parts or whatever probably worked great. But because everything is just like millimeters off, it's hard to get one that is like a one size fits all kind of thing. So the process is it's not like super involved, but you do have to kind of like basically measure like where the pins are going to go. And everything's laid out. And the frame that I have, it's one of the first beta releases. I'm sure the documentation has gotten much better since then, but like basically you just dial whatever your parts gets in, you take measurements in, and then you load the model up, and he has like some helper objects that you kind of like fill in and measure where on like the axes that they need to go. And so basically what you're getting is that parts kit. You catalog the number down, all the measurements, and that parts kit will fit that frame will fit your parts kit to a T. And like I said, I have about 800 rounds in one of the early betas. The only thing that's ever happened is the front pin was like walking a little bit, so just threw a little bit of clear quicks and epoxy on both sides, and like not one malfunction. And I can't even say that about my factory C9 frame that I bought years ago. So it's just been like, the thing is just a tank. It just runs. It just eats. It's awesome.
That pin like is known to have issues even in like you mentioned the factory, and I also think it's a time thing, like perfection with time, right? Designers get better. Another example I'll bring up is people trying to get the Mac Daddy to work. Like, yes, it could work. You really needed kind of the better feed ramp, and you kind of needed to jimmy it around a little bit. And now you've got the DB alloy, the Mod Mac by Aves, the Mikado by Pemby, and you really have multiple options that have kind of taken those specific things and, in a word, like tighten the tolerances as far as the design tolerances. People get better. More people know how to design guns, and we have these great blueprints that we can kind of build on. I was talking to Yeezy, and he was like, yeah, I mean, like, the Mac Daddy V2 is like 4 years old. So it's like
crazy.
It is, and it's like you think like you want that to be improved upon. And he's like, yeah, it's so cool seeing like the DB alloy. Like, he ran the DB alloy at a competition.
Oh, and, yeah, I remember him saying, I don't know if he was still, I don't know if it was like, it was I don't know if the print general was interviewing him or you were, but he's like, I made the Mac Daddy, but the DB alloy, or maybe he might have posted it on Twitter, but he's just like, printed DB alloy, it's hands down the best one, you know, but it really is building on other things. Because speaking about our boy Uberclay, Prince of the Revolution, like he had the Big Mac, and then it was remixed by oh fuck, what the fuck is his name? Prolific like remixer. What the fuck is his name? Anyway, it'll come to me. He did the Mick Gangbang. Basically added like a lot of like, extra ergonomics. I think a QD hole. Made, like,
it was laughs. It was laughs.
Laughs dynamics. That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
And bro, I couldn't get that thing to fucking feed. But then again, you have someone come in like Riptide Rails, and they make an all metal aluminum feed ramp. And dude, I brought it. I finally got around to installing it because I can get hard headed sometimes. So it's like I'm gonna make this motherfucker work. Going back to when I first started learning Linux back in 1996, just like this will work. I will stay up all fucking night. I don't care if I have what I have to do. So I finally broke down, and I'm doing like cleaning some stuff, and I'm like, all right, I'm already here. I got my punches and stuff, and I put it in. And it's like the feeling of just it running, because both of the clips that I posted today, there were only like 10 rounds in the grease mag, and that's because I had like PTSD, because like I would load up an entire grease mag and then get like maybe 3 shots off, and like the next round wouldn't fucking feed right. So it's just like, and same thing with the high point too. Like when I mentioned this to Luke, because he's like, he cut like, well, it's like, what's up with the shooting, bro? I'm like, I'm just so used to the shit not working or something happening that I can't even get into like a comfortable rhythm with it and like really enjoy it. I'm always like kind of like on edge, like, okay, what's gonna fuck up? I gotta make sure it's recording. So it really, like, I got into it. I think I got my first printer like late 2022. And I was kind of nervous because it's like this whole world of like, what do you mean 3D printed guns? Like, what does that even mean, right? I remember when my buddy Jesse from high school first got a 3D printer, and I couldn't wrap my head around what that even meant. Like, what do you mean you 3D print stuff? I don't even understand that. And I'm a computer guy by trade, so like I'm good with like kind of visualizing stuff in my head, and I couldn't grasp that. And then I finally got one. And I printed like the little, I think the Creality bunny rabbit that was on the SD card. I'm like, oh, I get it. But then even then, it's just like, but a gun though, you know,
Yeah.
like.
It's also still kind of magic to me, because it's like you see it coming out, and then it's like, it come out goo, but hard when I pick it off the bed. It is still super. It's so cool still. Like, it is still magical to me.
Same, yeah. I'm thinking about getting like a Core XY for my birthday, like coming up in July, just because like, man, it's great. It does remind me of like back when I first started learning Linux, because back then it was very niche, and then like it starts picking up steam, and all of a sudden like you blink and it's like you got all these options, you got all these distros, which some could argue like death by too many options, you know what I mean? But I'd rather have way more than way less, for sure. I'd rather have like hundreds of distros instead of just like Fedora, Red Hat, and Ubuntu. Like, I wouldn't want to live in that world.
No, for sure. And it's kind of like, that's like the open source ethos, right? As far as taking and expanding on things as they go. And you talk about wanting guns to function, right? That's one of my, even guns I have that I know function, I've never had an issue with. Giving them to people to shoot, I'm still like, oh, I please do not want to malfunction right now. Like, I'll spend my day clearing malfunctions more than shooting, but please, just for this person, can you not, I need it not to malfunction.
And then you're like trying to explain to them, like it just comes in your mind. It's like it comes off and comes out as pure cope. We're like, no, you don't understand. Like this mag release. Like the reason I know it doesn't work completely because, and here's the reason why. Because when I printed it, I oriented it like you just. But the thing is, you're telling them the truth. Where it's just like I was trying to like playing around with different orientations, and I'm just trying to like test new things. Because that's the other thing too is that like there's like being a user and then being a tester. I understand if people want to. If they prefer, like I had someone on Twitter today under my one of my edit posts for the High Point mentioned like, you know, man, I can't wait till this comes out, and it's like I totally understand where you're coming from because like especially when you're like involved in like you're juggling like a few projects or more than a few. It really like you got to be built different to just like juggle all that stuff. You know, like I'll have like I just got a front G19 railing because like the one that I got from the parts kit from another place that nothing against them. We'll just stay unnamed, but it's just like, man, what like. How are you gonna fucking ship me a slide with not even an OEM or a rail rather, or not even an OEM Glock slide? It can't fit. Like you can't like wiggle it a little bit and it can finally go on. Like it literally does not fit on there. So I got that coming in, and then I had like the Mac 10 Big Mac feet. So it's just like just juggling all this stuff. So I totally get people that are like, you know, this is cool. I'm gonna wait for the release. And in line with that, I think that Bamboo's coming out in the past couple of years, or not coming out in the past couple of years, but really becoming way more affordable and more mainstream, has done just as much for the community because, again, I taught myself Linux back when like you didn't even have like a configuration tool for your X Windows. You really had to like edit the mode lines by hand in like the XF86 config. So when it came to like my first Ender, like testing out all the different firmwares and like literally like dialing every little spec, like I'm just used to that. But even so, it was still overwhelming to get started just learning 3D printing in general to get to a point where I could start doing that. So I'm really glad that they have these turnkey solutions where it's like, yo, get this thing, download this thing from Odyssey, their profiles, you just literally import it into the slicer, whether it's Orca or whatever, and you're off and running. Like it really is like something else at this point, man.
It's awesome, and it really has kind of mirrored, like, there is, obviously it's not like defined as open source or anything like that, but these companies being from China, we immediately get other companies working on knockoffs and working on lowering price and better improvements. Like, I've got this Centauri Carbon right beside me, and I got it for $220, and it had 54 hours printed on it. So I mean, like we're talking about under 250. I've seen deals on Bamboos on P1Ss for $354. We're talking about under $500 essentially. The QD-Q2 looks great. Under $500 for printers you literally don't have to do shit to. You and I and Albert still is some of the longest Ender 3 holdouts, to the point it was a meme among people.
Especially cultivated laser just would unrelentless bullying.
Oh yeah, he busted your balls so much.
Yeah, man.
But it really is, and when we talk about pilling neighbors and getting people plastic pilled, getting people interested in 3D printed guns, the accessibility of saying, you order this on Amazon, here's the polymaker filament you get.
Yep. You
order it and you do that. As opposed to, and not that I don't mind helping people, but literally even helping people diagnose problems on Enders is awful, because it's like, okay, yes, this may be an issue, but you have to do this, and this. And yeah. Admittedly, like you did as well, I like dialing it in. Something about even manually leveling the bed feels great in the autistic way that you have total control of it, right?
For sure, yeah.
But the main issue for me is when stuff comes up, it's so much easier to fix now. It's
that's like what I was essentially the long-winded way of alluding to is that like if something comes up on the Bamboo, it's not going to be some like, oh, okay, here's the thing. There's like, it's not so much the settings, it's like the lack of a setting. Like a lot of Crealities out of the box that like they just don't really have. Then it's not a powerful interface. It's not a powerful firmware until they open sourced it, and then people took it and made it powerful firmware. So with the Bamboo, like you're saying, it's just like, you know, you literally like, and even just setting the thing up, you know, because like I had it was the S1 Pro that I got, and I literally had to, back to be brand new, I literally had to tear every fucking nut and bolt out of that thing, and basically like make sure that not just like level the gantry, but make sure like I had to like you know the algorithms, like the meme where like the equations are like I had to just like do that mathematically to every, like I had a fucking like right angle, like just making sure, and then on top of that, like it's funny. People don't really think about like the simple things in the sense of like turning on your light switch. It's like, holy fuck, I have electricity. That's amazing. Turning on your hot water. Holy fuck, I can take a hot shower. This is incredible. Like the things we take for granted. So just even having like a perfectly level surface where you can even just like do all that work on, it really there's a barrier to entry monetarily speaking, but there's also a barrier to entry where it's just like thankfully my buddy at work, his brother worked as all the car stuff, so they were able to basically press the my they were able to pin my barrel for my Plastikov parts kit. But if it wasn't for them, bro, like I can't go to Harbor. I don't even have the space to get like a press. You know what I mean?
No, and when we talk about like building community and things like that, that's why you talk to neighbors and why you talk to RSOs and Gunster employees and just the overall community. And we saw this relatively recently when and I don't even want to use that specific example. We see it frequently when people get shamed because they don't know, and it's fun to dunk and bust balls.
Are you talking about the AK?
Yeah, but it's like ultimately we want to get people to the range, and it's like
I was thinking, not to interrupt, but I was literally thinking to myself. I think it was after the range when I saw that post, and I'm like, yo. Imagine meeting a girl, like you're in your 20s, so for me that'd be like 25 years ago. Like, I literally could not even forget about wrapping my brain around like a Hollywood script where it's like, oh yeah, boy meets girl and blah blah blah. I couldn't even fathom meeting like a girl her age, and like me being that same age, and she's like, oh, you want to come over and see my guns? But what? Like.
Yeah, my AK. Yeah, and it's like,
on top of that, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Not just like a like a 22 that my grandpappy handed down to me in the family, but like legit, like what? Like, so I couldn't even fathom that like 25 years ago, and the fact that this is like, and I posted this where it's just like, man, like, every generation they're just shedding all the FUD bullshit, all the horse shit that got us to where we are today, essentially, where like any FUD would sell out if it's not a revolver or a single bolt action hunting rifle. They would gladly sell out every fucking right of yours. When it comes to gun rights, they would gladly sell them out for you right underneath your feet. And 100%. The fact that we're just the fact that that's being reversed in real time generationally is just like the biggest white pill moment, man. And dude, don't dunk on her, bro. Say, yo, I live near you. You want to go? Not say like.
Yeah, but it's like, hey, if anyone else hasn't shot their gun, like, hey, if DM me where you're at, and we can find someone near you to shoot. Because that's the thing too, is it's like, and I'm not saying like go shooting with anyone, but I've set up mutuals meeting in different areas because, hey, like I don't have someone to shoot with. Oh, okay, this person is going shooting. Go with them, and don't worry about ammo. We'll get you on ammo this time. And just getting people interested in it so much. You mentioned like the barrier of entry and things like that. While the monetary barrier, it's basically the same. I remember paying like $99 for an Ender, but they were about $149 to $200, but it is so much easier because there was a hard hook to get people into an Ender. Like I felt like a used car salesman a little bit. I was like, okay, yeah get this Ender. It's gonna work real nice for you. It's gonna work.
And then you
real
upsell
nice.
them on all the other charges where it's like, oh, you need this, you should get this, get the dual axis rod set up going, and then make sure you get the PI. Well, now they guess they ship with PI plates, but you know what I know you're saying, just like, oh, it'll run great. You just have to get this, do this thing.
Definitely.
This firmware,
and people don't realize that tricked out Ender 3s were a legitimate thing for a while. Like we're talking up to the 400, 500, 600. We had some dudes build super tall ones, like it, which is cool and kind of the function of it. And I still do appreciate it for what it is. It's still a fun machine. If you're like if you have a kid or like someone very interested in 3D printing and they're interested in that aspect as well as the guns, definitely get an Ender. Like
like what you're saying with having a kid, it's just like having like a 70s like Alchemy or something in your garage where it's not your daily driver, but it's something that you like to tinker on. It's something that you want to bring your kid over and be like, yo, check this out. Like, I'm going to teach you how to do this. It's not relevant to cars today, but like that skill could branch out into other skills that you could like put forth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And it just does still help you like diagnose problems, understand belts, understand how the printer works, the axes, things of that nature. But it is much easier and so much better now to be able to say you can order this printer on Amazon or you can go pick up this printer at Best Buy, and then you're done. You don't have to add crazy shit to it.
Like I was saying with the barrier to entry stuff, man, it's one thing to be like, yo, get this printer for like it's like $300 max with the shipping included. Like you'll be set up. It's a whole nother ball game. Like people don't think about the time investment. Like there's a monetary investment, which is not trivial. 3D printers are definitely like an extra commodity. It's not an oven where you kind of need an oven to like make food. It definitely is a commodity. It's kind of like I'm not going to say a first world issue kind of thing, not at all, because you got people in Myanmar like using 3D printers, but it is a luxury in that sort of sense where it's like I don't need it, right? But being able to say get this and then do these other two steps and you'll be basically 95% of the way there is so much better than being like, oh no, that version of Render 3 you want this one, let me send you the link, oh by the way, when you get it, make sure that you get these what do you call them, the flat blades that you use to like auto level the bed or manually level the bed. Yeah, so like you just tell them get this and you're good. You don't have to like try to upsell them on this extra shit, or even worse, they go to print something and it just comes out terrible. And you're like, oh, check this, and then they check these couple things and then they try to reprint and it's like a little better but still not as good as the pictures that they might have seen you take. And that those iterations were just like, okay, I'll try it again. 12 on the ender, 20 something hours later. Okay, I adjusted these in my slicer. Let me try it again. Okay, another, tenth of a roll of filament, another 16 hours. And it's just like, and that's a part that people, I'm so glad it's at the point now where it's like, it's less time consuming, not only to get spun up, but to fix issues. Because if you got a frame that came out that wasn't that great, it's an 8-hour time sink versus like a 20-hour time sink. You know what I mean?
100%.
That adds up like very quickly, and when people are first trying to get into it,
Well, you remember this? Like you would start a print early in the day, and you'd go to check it like at night, and it'd be like a quarter or a third of the way done. Yeah. Like there were so many times where you're just praying. You're like, man, I hope that's not fucked up. And. For sure.
Especially if it's something that you haven't printed yet. Like I remember when I first printed the waffle mags. Man, I don't know what it was, but a couple of them came out like gnarly as fuck. So that was when I was starting to like get a little bit more privy to like orientation and stuff like that, where it's like, oh, you know what? Actually, if I do it this way, that makes more sense. Or even if just like instead of it going this way, I'm going to rotate it that way. So now it's going this way because maybe my printer is better printing like this way instead of the bed moving, over time the shit gets loosened up. So yeah, I know what you're saying. Like
just making sure, like it's such a difference and a night and day difference. I got recently some people locally hit me up and were like, hey, I'm getting this, I'm looking at this printer, and it was the K1S, so it was basically the K1C without the enclosure, and it was $129 on Creality refurbished, and it's like, dude, like, you can still print PLA Plus, which we're PLA Plus demons, we're Team PLA, PLA Pro, Polymaker, it works, and it's great, and it's fine, and something I kind of want to, like, detour into here is, people love colorful guns, dude.
Yes. That's, honest to God, that is the majority of the reason that got me 3D printing was I was born in like late 80s, early 90s, so we had all those crazy, funky neon colors and like the rug that they have in the arcades, which is like all these like you put the black light on and it's like all these crazy colors going on. Even just like that Recession Ruger that I just printed, I modeled that after like the original SNES controller aesthetic, because the shit was just fun, and it's just fun and interesting, but most importantly, out of everything, fun. It's just fun,
No, definitely, and your limits are your imagination. I'm pulling it up here. You posted it a few days ago again, I believe, the USPS Glock, and it's like, like, would you mind going through kind of like what your thought process is when like laying this out and like making a themed like custom build, like kind of what you were looking for and like what you envisioned?
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of fly by the seat of my pants when it comes to colors. It's funny, I didn't start using 3D Builder to like. So when I was doing the Plastikov, I went through a couple color iterations where I just wasn't like really happy with like the way they were hitting because you got like the main upper, but then you got like the closeout wedge and the end cap and all that.
Well, and sometimes it's hard. Like you can plan it out even, but until it's on there, like you see it next to each other, and you're like, well, damn it.
Exactly, that was a big thing, and sometimes even one of the iterations I was doing, I think it was like red, orange, and gray or something like that. And I think I might have like gotten that from Rice Cutter, like one of his thumbnails, where it wasn't like the actual print, but it was like one of the the renders. I'm like, yo, that's kind of cool. It just didn't. It wasn't coming out how I thought. Because back in the day, like when I first started, I would just throw anything at the wall, and it's like if I liked it, I liked it. If I didn't, I didn't. Sometimes things randomly hit me. Like I had a pair of Nike SBs that were based off the Appetite for Destruction album by Guns N' Roses, and it was such a fucking awesome colorway. It was like red into like an orange yellow type of color with purple on like the inseam in the soles, and that's the color scheme that I used for the Fireball, and that came out so good. And with the Recession Ruger, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, like I really like how that DV alloy came out because I modeled that after like the original NES color scheme, like the gray, a little bit of white, and the red for the accents. But sometimes like things just happen. Like I didn't realize how much of a fan I was of Polymaker PLA's light green and light blue. And man, like I never would have thought, because I'm like a teal and magenta kind of like vaporwave, kind of like Miami sunset kind of vibe. But those colors are so fun,
They are, and they. You mentioned a couple colors. I'm gonna notice that hide layer lines really well. Like there's specific colors, and you can kind of learn it as you get into it. That it's hard.
Polymaker's PLA purple is so good for that. Actually, it's funny. I have my emotional support Uber now right here. This was printed on my original Ender, and like just even looking at it now, you can definitely see the layer lines, but you're talking like this is like one of the first like low receivers that I ever printed that wasn't like a Glock frame or something like that. And like I'm looking at it now, and it's just like, man, like. And it's been running ever since. Like I haven't changed one thing on this. It's still the original. Like everything's, except for the ejector. I did change that out once, but it's a consumable. Eventually, you're gonna have to do it. But the brace, the low receiver, even the grip, like everything about this is still from my original Ender, and it still runs it. And I actually got my SBR form approved for it, so I can actually ditch the brace and actually put a stock on it. I just got to get around to. Finding where I put those damn tags that laser cultivated laser printed for or made for me. But yeah, I know you're saying, and it actually blue I would say is pretty unforgiving.
It really is. I don't know what it is about the tone. Blue's pretty unforgiving. Red is sick to print in, but red's another one that will kind of show a little bit. But a lot of the lighter colors, like the light blues, particularly in pictures, they really don't show that much.
Yeah, for sure.
But also like the softer red tones, like the pinks are great. The magentas, beautiful. The magenta,
one of my favorites for sure.
It's so good. Like if it's like a locked in printer, like
yeah,
it legitimately it's hard. Like as someone who isn't around guns wouldn't be like, that's not, like they would think it was like painted or something. It's actually crazy. And you mentioned like modularity, like and being able to replace pieces. That's just something like it's such an easy selling point for people, because when you're talking about like, for example, a foregrip, you're talking about like, hey, I want to switch it out for a different color. Okay, your choices are paint it or pay $50 or something.
Yep.
Like That's pretty much your choices, as opposed to, oh, you can print a bunch of different ones out. You can try them on how they feel.
So get into a segue, not to segue off of this, but in keeping with it, is another fantastic way to 3D pill people that. So I didn't realize this when I first started working at the post office, but there's actually like a lot of people there that like just basically like to casually shoot. My buddy Raphael. So basically, like I kind of like get the foot in where it's like yo, check out this foregrip, and they don't even know it's printed. One of my supervisors, Ryan, did the same thing with him. I'm like, oh, you just get your first AR here, get this foregrip, and they have no idea it's printed, and then you just kind of like drop it like a week or so later, like, it's 3D printed, right? And I'm like, get the fuck out of here, you know what I mean? Like they don't believe it. I remember one of my other coworkers that I'm going to the range with tomorrow. He was shooting my Chimin-Wan 19X, and I'm like, how did that feel? Because he's still he's shot before, but he's still like really new to it. So I'm like, how did that feel? He's like, oh, felt great. And I pat on the back. I'm like, you just shot your first 3D printed gun. He's like, shut the fuck up. I'm like, dude, yeah, for real. So like, accessories is a great way to get people to like get their foot in the door, because even if they're just unsure about can it really hold up? Like, will it blow up in my hands? Type shit. Which we all know is fake and retarded. Just getting them in the, just even grips, bro. You know what I mean? You don't have to buy that $40, $50 Magpul. Getting that brace that I just printed, I think it's K1 or something like that on Odyssey. The Wisp version 2 that I recommend people check out. Yeah, I got it right here. But like, just this brace right here, I brought it into the local gun store. They're like, bro, this is like better than like some of this SB shit that we sell. You know what I mean?
No, so definitely.
Accessories is a big way to get people started on that for sure.
And something I would mention too, while we're thinking about it, something that's made it easier to recommend and easier to help people find stuff, the GunCat Index. Shout out the Index, shout out Shitinator. Super fun.
I'm so glad. So like, people have to crawl before others can walk and then run. And like, I can't tell you how grateful I am to have that tool available, because dude, like, again, because I'm hard-headed a lot of the times, and I will go on Odyssey, and if there's something that I'm trying to find, scroll, and then find out. Now we got a resource where it's just like, I literally, like, you're talking like 1 or 2% of the time I won't be able to find something on the GunCat Index, and it's not because it's a fault of that website. It's because it just hasn't, maybe they haven't included them in the index yet. You know what I mean?
Or maybe like the creator, like you're spelling it different, or something of that nature. And I don't think people truly understand, especially the newer people. You could type in the exact phrase on Odyssey and it wouldn't pull up what you're looking for. Like, you could have the name. If you didn't have the name, you're digging in the mines, bro. You're in those mines digging.
You're gonna be in the trenches for hours, my dude. Yeah. And it's one of those things where it's like on one hand, like you said, like, you guys don't even know, but on the other side of that, it's just like, thank God they don't have to know. You know what I mean? Thank God. Like, again, getting is you're gonna get mass adoption through just ease, right? Especially in today's day and age. Not to sound like a boomer or anything like that, but like, man, I remember the fucking, I could mimic the tones of dial-up, because I've heard it so many times growing up. Where now it's just like, you literally, like, even if you don't have Wi-Fi, you're still connected to like probably a 5G tower, at least 4G.
I mean, shit, we're talking right now, and it's like that. It's crazy to think about. And you're right, 3D printers really have followed that arc of similar technology. And now these have kind of changed a little bit, but I kind of wanted to get into some common questions people ask about.
Yep.
Both like printers and 3D printed guns. What are some common questions you've run into? Now, for me, I say they've changed because a lot of the time before it was like, will this really blow up? That kind of nature. I don't notice those questions as much anymore. I definitely see a lot more of, what printer should I get? Where to get filament? What are some common questions you've ran into?
I would say the top three would be like, what do I get? Like, because, you got a lot of brands and a lot of models. It's not really like a car where it's like, if you get a Nissan or you get a Toyota. Like you might have a preference for one or the other, but at the end of the day, they're pretty much the same thing. You know, like you take care of them, they're gonna last you like a decent amount of time. So I would say like, what printer should I get? Not what brand or model specifically, but usually just what printer. What kind of filament, and I always recommend PLA Pro Polymaker specifically to start, because the other stuff is, again, not overwhelming people. You know, you want them to just get up and running.
No, definitely. And Polymaker has great colors. Not that there's not good filaments on Amazon. I've printed with Amazon filaments. A lot of the times, if there's a crazy sale, why not grab it just to print bullshit in? But Polymaker is going to be the most forgiving for people, 100%.
So that's why I recommend specifically Polymaker, because there's a term in the tech industry called eat your own dog food, where it's like if you're developing an app or like a infrastructure as a service or something like that, you better be using the thing that you're working on. So you're not only developing it, but you're getting the user experience. And so the reason why suggest Polymaker Pro specifically is because I've printed, man, I have like literally those big Tupperware tubs. I have 2 fold up to the brim. I'm talking like the big tubs, the deep ones, in the basement, filled up to the brim with just like frames and just random shit that I printed. So I know when I tell them that specifically, like, I know they're in good hands. You know what I mean? I like the Polymaker's consistency, their quality. Like I think I had one roll that was fucked up, but it wasn't the filament. It was wound. So basically, it got to a point and it started snagging, and then the extruder couldn't like pull the filament in. But that was it. So I recommend that because I know that they're like I haven't seen any variants to talk about. Like, remember, what was it? eSun ran into an issue with like literally like 1 out of every 3 spools would be fucked up. This is like maybe like a couple years ago. And I can't say the same with Polymaker, so that's exactly why I tell them PLA Pro. And I would say one of the other big questions I get asked is parts kits. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm starting to feel like High Point at this point.
No, definitely. That is really kind of an issue I've noticed with the Surge, and we can talk about that here in a second. I do want to hit on Polymaker, and when things are wrong, they fix them. That's a great part. Like, our mutual Sparkwall had an issue. They tweeted and were like, "Hey, I've never had a Polymaker spool get caught. It got caught. Polymaker sent a coupon right away, fixed it. Boom." Their rewards program. Polymaker has like great rewards. They
interact with our community. Are you kidding me?
No, definitely. Like, you post stuff, they'll like it. For those that don't know, 3D Print General, he works there. Like,
that's another big thing. Yep.
It really, like, it is hard to not recommend Polymaker enough. Love Polymaker. And I highly recommend for sure. Now, an interesting issue with parts kits, right, is we love the good word spreading, and we love people like PSR putting out videos, people like you putting out videos. But however, when a video goes viral, parts kits do go up. Like, just recently noticed the Recession Ruger parts kits after PSR's video, we're talking some almost doubled in price.
Dude, honestly, when I was at the gun store earlier today, one of the guys, this guy Seamus, real cool dude. I always show him my prints when I'm finally done building them. He's like, "Did you ever get a TX22?" I'm like, "I was thinking about it, but I passed on it because I'm going to spend more time loading mags than I'm going to be shooting the thing." And on top of that, it's one of those things where it's like, if I live in a city, so I can't just like go up, just like real quick. Like, I would be doing that at the range, and like I'm not really at the range to do that. Like, so I don't really have the environment to do that. But he's like, bro, like, he's like, I think he, again, this is secondhand information, so take it for what it's worth. But he said that they like spun down one or two of their factories, and all they're doing right now is just pumping out TX22s.
I wouldn't be surprised. We're talking a gun that essentially doubled in price because of FRTs.
If you can find it.
If you can find it, and so that is an issue. And also it comes to this issue where, for those that don't know, I don't know how much we can talk about it on YouTube, but you can go to Gunbroker and potentially get parts, right? And so, but the issue is the flow of parts kits has remained about the same while they're more in demand than ever. So often, if you're bidding against someone on a Sunday and the auctions are ending, you're bidding against someone else that's printing a gun.
100%, especially when Prince just goes, oh, check out all the Gunbroker deals, and blah 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 blah. It just has like a 20 thread on Twitter, and so lucky for me, but not lucky, because I do miss out. I work Sundays, so like I'm usually, anytime they're about to end, I'm busy like trying to get wrapped up and get everything set to like get shipped out. But I know what you're saying, man.
Probably good for your wallet, though.
That's what I was saying. That's what I was getting at. Yeah. But I do. That is one thing I think about constantly, and that's why I am a fan of that. Like I posted earlier, a video where it's like the GC9 is my favorite gun, and that's one of the things I think about. Where it's like even the Euro Tower, where it's just like you can fashion or make it completely, and I am as reliant on lower parts kits and eBay auctions and Gunbroker auctions and every gun part sales as much as the next guy. But I do have this thing that's always tugging in the back of my mind where it's like, man, what if one day this shit, one of the cool things about the Recession Ruger was that you had all these parts kits that weren't being used. So you create a frame, you create something around it to make it fun, make it, I'm not going to call it a meme gun, even though it is a meme gun, but like it is a legit, like, dude, the Rugers just run.
It trains, and it's kind of the same thing we talked about earlier, where talk about like reliability, like was not very reliable. Did it look cool? It was fun. It was cyberpunk, and it's still all those things, but it's so much more reliable. It's compatible with other things, so much better. The same process as the Mac Daddy, as other guns, as many high point variations. Designers and people across time keep improving, and now it's at a point where it isn't really a meme gun anymore. Like, it's legitimately a fun PCC.
Yes, yeah. I finally finished putting together that ladder brace, man, and like a ladder brace. And when I finally got it complete, I'm like torquing on it, and I'm expecting like a little bit of give. It's plastic, it's solid, but at the end of the day, it is still kind of like put together by nuts and bolts, whatever. It's not injection molded, but dude, I could not get that thing to move. Like, and to me, that was like a pretty incredible moment where it's just like, damn, dude, like, because braces back in the day, not too long ago, but there are some braces that came out where it's like, how could you release this shit, man? Like, not gonna name specifics, but there were like more than a handful of braces that came out where it's just like, what like I wouldn't put my name on that, but you do you. But now it's like, it's solid, man. And the most complex part was getting threaded rods, and it took a while for me to finish it because my local hardware stores just didn't have it in stock. And again, just like juggling 8 different things, it was really high on my priority list. But then I'm like, wait a minute, I got a new Plastikov parts kit because I wanted to like start from scratch because I was having issues. Figured out what that issue was. Again, these little issues that kind of build up, which I was able to tell someone on Twitter because they were thinking about building a Plastikov. I'm like, yo, when you get to the trunnion part, keep these things in mind. And by the way, here's what I got on Amazon. These will have all the different lengths that could cover whatever parts kit you got, whether it's like you need to see like on the shorter side, like 15 millimeter, or 20, or in between like me, 18. So I basically sacrificed my old parts kits and just cut the threaded rods with the Dremel. And like, so when you think about it, man, like this thing, and again with the with this brace that I just printed, where they're like, dude, this is like better than the SB. It's crazy to me to think that like a couple nuts and bolts, and that's what I was thinking about this too. It's just like they have to come up with something clever and something functional, because you're not going to say, okay, go to McMaster. Here's a bill of materials. You got to get this specific, like, esoteric bolt that's going to cost you $10 plus shipping, and then you got get like all these one-offs from all these different places, and then you add it all up, and it's like, man, is it really worth putting all this time and money into something that basically is just kind of simple at the end of the day? Where was I going with this?
No, you're good. You're totally right, and something to kind of counteract that I'd like to see, and we support Riptide. Aves is awesome.
Dude, if it wasn't for them, dude, where would we be? And that's the thing that always nags me in the back of my mind. It's like, dude, thank God for those guys, man. Because like I said, even my Mac 10 feed ramp issues, man. Like the thing that finally solved it was you had a dude like Riptide, and he fashioned one out of aluminum, and it's like, holy dude, the elation that I felt where it could just run. And then when you get into like trying to introduce people to them, if I saw that shitty plastic feed ramp in there, because I tried multi variations where it was like one that was perfectly curved, and then one that was like, it was curved up and then kind of like went at an angle and then finished curving up. You can't pill people on shit that won't run, especially if you can't even get through a mag, bro.
Yeah, like we're talking about blackpilling people at that point, and totally.
You're doing a disservice. You're turning them off, and that's the last thing, because you can't explain to them like, no, it's cool. Like you could just like import this into like a CAD program and make some modifications. Like they're not trying to hear that, and I don't blame them. You know what I mean?
Generally, my default is just blaming it on myself. I'm like, yeah, I'm a fucking idiot. I did something wrong, but it's like. Because it is such a long explanation, and I encourage people, if you're into the manufacturing part, please find barrels you can make, bolts. Rogue bolts would be great. FGC9 bolts are always needed and wanted, because even though people can make them at home, sometimes I know a lot of people that just say, hey, I'm going to buy the bolt and barrel and do the rest. I'll source the rest myself. There's even DIY trigger packs you can make with screws and stuff. I just don't want to do that shit. Okay, fine. Like, there is totally room for that. So if you want to do that, please. And also something I suggest, go to gun stores and go to pawn shops. You, at this point, a High Points at one of those places might be cheaper. A Ruger definitely could be cheaper. And
there was a couple Springfields, so DB Firearms with his Springfield frames. I didn't end up picking it up, but there was this one Springfield where it's like, when it comes to like bidding on GunBroker, it's like I could probably get it just cheaper, complete right here, used at the store today. I didn't end up picking it up, but I was there and it crossed my mind. It was just like, it's. What am I going to save? Like an extra $30?
No, definitely. And also, it kind of gives you a head start, because even when taking them, like, putting it back together is going to be 95% similar or more. So it's like you kind of get to take it apart, see how it works, and be like, okay, this goes here. And it is cool to do that. So, like, that is an option as well. Gun shows. If you go to a gun show, you can often get some cheap bullshit to fiddle around with. Like there were multiple options. I went with trash. There were multiple options under $200 that were build worthy. Like you could play with, clean the slide up, practice whatever you want to practice, and.
I'll be honest with you, man. They had a used Taurus G3 for $200, like new in box, and I was this close to picking it up because I have the G3 C, the compact, but I have never built a woolly bully, and it's just like, what, for $200, it's not so much about like the $200. It's more about just like having a fun weekend project or something like that.
No, definitely, and we're talking about the like new reliability of guns. The good thing about it is there are so many more reliable guns. A lot of times it'd be like, well, I don't want to build a Recession Ruger. I know parts kits are cheap, but fiddling with it to get it to work, or fiddling with the Mac Daddy. And my Mac from Aves was, I got it around a sell time, but it was under 300 all in for a Mac 11. And it's like, you tell people that and it's like crazy.
That's another part too with Aves, man. God bless him in his operation, because like I remember I was talking to him one day about like nothing specific in general, but we got to talking about how he came up with his design or whatever, and he was saying how like he took patents that were expired from like this manufacturer, and kind of like took the best of everything like the most like he took what was worth taking and combining those all together. And like, dude, my others upper, like, I think I've had that for a couple, dude. It just runs, and thank God for him and his operation like that.
No,
Because,
it
like,
runs, and people see them and go, "Oh wow, that's awesome! Like that's great."
dude,
Like,
it runs dry, it runs oiled up, it runs cleaned, it runs dirty. Like, it just runs, man. It's great.
and we talk about people horny for colors, dude. They have so many colors.
Oh, dude, I remember I saw. Speaking of parts kits, MAF. Shout out to the homies.
Yes, use code lemon snow cone, SNOW cone for 10% off. Tons of cool stuff. They support the community like fully, and stuff is so reasonably priced. I didn't want to interrupt, but it's so reasonably priced, dude.
Please do. And I will be more than happy to be interrupted any time for MAF, man, because they, like, bro. Again, it's one of those places like without them, like where the fuck, like where would we be, man? You know, even so, you have Ivan designing the Plastikov, and affiliated with MAF to some degree, so everything's sourced for that. But it's like, dude, so the another one of the guys, TJ at the gun store, was just showing the Plastikov, and he's like, holy shit, that actually works. I'm like, yeah, like. And he works at a gun store, so even people that work at gun stores full time, they might see mostly all of them know about PSR and watch him, but they're just like, yeah, but there must be some kind of like behind the scenes.
Yeah,
like,
there's some YouTube trickery there.
Exactly, yeah. But you show them of like, yeah, it's a full mag, just like it runs, bro. Like I know it's kind of wild to think of, and believe me, I was there at 1.2, but like, so man. Well, again, there's basically everything, because like again with the Urato, the way that the fire control group is set up, like you can either fashion your own springs, but the basically like the trigger, the hammer, and everything like that, like that's all printed, and the hammer is basically like a bolt that you kind of like round out and then jibby weld in. Like I love that shit. I love the fact that he took the time to not only provide an alternative, but like you gotta at some level care about where it's like, okay, you could just have a regular AR fire control group, but you could also have this alternative. So it's up to you, like you were saying earlier, where it's just like, yeah, I get the bolt and barrel, but with AG making that video on ECMing your own stuff, it's just like, man, like I can't even, again, right now, just put it into words, I can't tell you how much I appreciate people that like have provided those options for us, man. Because like that's the thing, at the end of the day, when it comes to like all the legislation cracking down right now, especially like in this current, all these states, and going after 3D printing stuff, and like making again, I thought this was also a solved issue when it came to encryption, fucking going on 30 years now ago. I thought this was all a solved problem. Like, source code is free speech, end of story. So I'm glad that there's alternatives, because you're one fucking piece of legislation away from not being able to get a parts kit. I don't care where you get it from. You know what I mean?
No, definitely.
But and you can't define a parts kit if you're sourcing a little piece over here, a little piece over there, and it's not a kit. They're not parts. This is a piece of wire. This is just a nut.
Also, it's so easy to, we talk about like saying, hey, buy this filament, buy this printer, hey, buy this parts kit. You go here, you go to MAF, buy this parts kit. You go to other various suppliers. You go to Riptide and you get these rails. You go to Aves, this is what you get. You get the Glock mag release, you get blah blah, and you can give people, hey, you buy from these 3 or 4 places. Here's what you buy, and it really is that simple for them. And you talk about lowering the barrier to entry, that's how you do it right there. You have multiple places where you can get stuff. You have options, how much you want to build on your own, how much help you want to get, and it really is becoming more and more accessible, which we love to see. But you're totally right about, you don't know when this is going to be taken away, and that's why we post every day about 3D printed guns. If you don't follow both of us, at Cringe Lemon, at Rights of Refusal, we post every day, and I mean, kind of speak for you, we're always thinking about the people that are locked up because they can't.
Yeah. Yep.
They can't, or they're in a state or country where they can't.
Dude, like Dexter Taylor, like there's no universe, there's no multiverse where that guy should be behind bars right now for a fucking dude. This guy had a full-time job, no criminal background, just him doing his thing by himself in the privacy of his own fucking home. There's no fucking reason why that guy should be behind a cage.
No, definitely.
Same thing with Freeman, man. You know, like he was on his fucking property doing his own thing. Leave motherfuckers alone.
No, definitely. And it's like, we've even seen kids in California a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago now. An 18-year-old is going to go to prison for probably a decade.
I saw that,
like,
yeah.
We need to get kids in STEM classes. We need these people as functioning parts of society. Danny Probeck in New Jersey, New York area. He, a lifetime union man, never been arrested, anything like that. Allegedly moving some guns, which, hey, guess what? When people are like, well, they were selling them. You don't even want to know what I think is shit about selling GUNS, especially on YouTube. Anyone should be able to do it. Technically, you can if you fill out the right paperwork and stuff. But for the crime of not getting the right paperwork, he was dragged away in front of his 6-year-old daughter when he was going to take her to school. And it's like, this is the current world we live in. Joseph the Parrot, as the time recording this, is locked in a cage. Don't take this for granted. Like, while it is fun and silly, while it is awesome, when you're pilling people, this is a great way to pill people to be pro-gun, to say, yes, if you have this specific thing, this is a felony in these states and in these countries, you're going to jail. You printed a flame.
You gotta be upfront. If you're trying to pill people for all the right reasons, as one should, you need to be like upfront and direct. You can't say like, well, you know, if you know them good enough, be like, yo, just to let you know. But when it comes to this kind of stuff, man, you need to be upfront and honest with people. Be like, listen, man, so there's, without going too much into it, and I don't think we'll have to cut any of this out, but this guy I know in Massachusetts was inquiring about having me 3D print him something, and it wasn't getting through to him, and that's not because he was being stubborn. It's because he just didn't really know that world, our world, very much, you know. And I just basically had to take him aside and be like, yo, listen, dude, first of all, like, this is a dumb move. Second of all, like there are so many better options, even though they might be shittier options. There are so many more options that you have at your disposal that won't fucking like land you or me in fucking prison, bro. Like, so I'm like, dude, this is not gonna happen. Like, it was one point where I'm just like, is this? Because he kind of showed up one day and just like, is this guy a fan? He's asking a lot of questions, man. But it just turns out that he just didn't really know, you know. And
the rules are stupid. Like, to be fair, like,
yes,
they prey on people not knowing. They want people not to know so they can lock them in a cage.
Dude, I had no idea how uninformed I was until I basically became 3D pilled. Like, dude, and God bless RK for a lot of this stuff, man. Cause he's like, he'd like DM me, be like, yo, man, just to let you know. And it's like, I didn't know. How was I supposed to know? You know what I mean? Like,
no, definitely.
Like,
and we talk about being aware and knowing, and when you're letting people know, saying, hey, this is the laws, you don't even have to say this is stupid. When you're explaining a stock and a brace, they will say this doesn't make sense. When you're explaining an SBR length, they will say this doesn't make sense. When you're explaining mag capacity, they will say, well, so if it's this much longer and you can fit more in it, it's a felony. You're going to jail for that. And it's that is. And you can see the wheels turning when you talk to them about that.
The brace and stock thing is my go-to, especially when I'm going to be shooting with someone tomorrow at the range, and the first time I told them that, it was like if you just showed a dog a card trick. They're just like, well, and then I immediately go, yes, exactly. That is a most appropriate response. We're just like, huh? Like, did I hear that right? Like, yes, you heard that right. Yes, that is actually on the law books, and yes, it is that fucking retarded. Yes, you know what I mean? And then they just start laughing. And what I've noticed too is he's kind of a younger generation. I would say I think Gen Z, but they are way more receptive because, dude, you talk to a boomer, I wouldn't even get ammo shipped to my house. And it's like, I don't think it's, if you're living in a state where you can get ammo shipped to your house, I don't think it's that deep, my dude. But they are just like, their brains are just like hard stuck in a state that you will never shake them out of. So listen, my advice would be, don't, it's going to sound shitty, but don't waste your time.
No, if they come up to you and they're like, hey, what's the thing you got there? I want to try it out. Okay, fine. Like, for example, I had a FUD during shotgun season. He came up and was like, can I shoot that? And I was like, yeah, for sure, man. For sure. Like, if they approach you about it and want to talk about it, for sure.
Yes.
A lot of times they will want to talk about guns and stuff. But in general, it's like, you don't have to be a pushy salesman. They will sell themselves. If they're working, you're printing them right. You're giving people the right information, which you're obligated to do. But also, I want to encourage people, we are in the right. We will kill gun control. It is dead, essentially, but I mean, that's a semantic argument.
It should be a universal right, not just a constitutional right for one country. It should be a foundational.
It's a human right.
Down. Yes.
It is. And so when we talk about doing all these things, be smart about it. Don't get yourself in trouble. Don't incriminate yourself. Don't incriminate other people.
And it's not illegal. It's not illegal to ask questions too. Even if you think you know.
Yeah.
It's always good to be like, reach out to someone else and be like, okay, so just even 3D printing some pressures, man. I didn't know this until Yeezy told me. Again, not because I'm trying to skirt and try to do something behind the scenes. I just didn't know. He's like, listen, you need to fill on your materials that you will be purchasing.
Yeah, you don't have any of your materials right now. Like
exactly, even a roll of filament. I in my wildest dreams, I never would have thought about that. But thank God he was like, "Here's what you got to do."
The washer, the simple washer. If you can't have the washer beforehand,
exactly.
No.
Yeah. So if you're not sure, the best bet is to just ask, because asking questions, there's nothing wrong with that.
Definitely. And we talk about questions and kind of we mentioned earlier, answering questions, things like that. Everyone asking a question isn't a fed. Like you brought it up. A lot of times it's people don't know, and it's because it's purposely fucking complicated and ridiculous on purpose.
Yeah.
It's not their fault. They don't know.
Yeah. They want you to get lost and overwhelmed in the legalese, which, I'm not the biggest fan of AI. I think probably a lot of us aren't. But the one thing that it is great for is like, summarize this like 200-page, like all these statutes and all this shit. Just can you summarize this at like a higher level and be kind of concise, but don't leave out anything that might be important? Like, that is your friend when it comes to something like that, because I've run a lot of legislation through Grok. I don't really. I only use that because it's just like kind of right there, but that's another great tool. Don't use Google. You're gonna get some horse shit that will probably get you busted more than anything.
Or it'll be like every time post comes up and it's like, if you make one ghost gun, you're gonna explode, and when you take one marijuana, you're gonna end up like those deflated things on the couch.
Not the marijuanas.
Yeah,
not the jazz cigarettes, bro. Come on.
And again, just be safe, be careful. And you're on the right side of history. I want to assure all of us that pilling people on 3D printing.
Be open, because the only thing that's gonna have everyone be liberated and have this movement succeed is when it's not whispered in speakeasies. Obviously, I'm using metaphors.
Yeah,
it's not whispered about. That's why.
Disinformation thrives in the spaces where it's not talked about.
Yes, that's why I have. When I was really becoming 3D pulled, I made it my mission where it's like, no, I'm going to be upfront and in everyone's face about it, not like aggressively in your face, but just like shut it down. Nope, that's wrong. No, here's the real thing, and be unapologetic for it, because, like I said, we like the generations before us. I'm like on the Gen X kind of cusp. the generations before that would have sold every fucking right from under enough, as long as they had their single bolt action hunting rifle and maybe a six shot revolver. They would have been more than happy.
Definitely. And while people always shit on like the next generation and stuff, like the younger kids are so interested in it, so interested in
they're
the
your
technology.
best friends. They're your best friends, even if you don't know it yet. They will carry the torch on it, and that torch will be even brighter and bigger than you could have even imagined if you just treat them right and treat them with respect.
No,
let
definitely.
them know. Yeah.
Like you said, treat them with respect. Like, that's it. Like, be like, hey, this is what it is. Be transparent with them. They know when you're bullshitting. They know when people are bullshitting. They're being sold stuff 24/7. You're not even trying to sell anything. You're just spreading the good word, as Ivan calls it, spreading the good word. And
Absolutely.
like you said, be yes and no. This is the lines that are legal. This is not. This is what the state will lock you in a cage for. This is where what they want. You are able to print this at home, and really be transparent. And it's not only rewarding for them, it's so rewarding to help people get started. That's one of my
100%.
favorite things about it. You've got a tweet here I'm going to read. You went to a local gun store, showed people your USPS build. Of course, that 3D pilled a few people while there. The themed builds, my most recent Nerf one, even though I got hated on, no comment. January 6th, stop the steal. We're Patriots, Nerf Patriots, stand back and stand by. But I'll get back to your tweet here. 3D pilled a few people. Gifted a trigger guard to a dude who needs one. It's great to throw A2 grips, trigger guards. You mentioned if you're in a state that you can do that, 4 grips and grips. Just give them to people. It costs 50 cents in filament, dude.
And at most 4 hours of your time, depending on like how like Gucci the stippling is, or like how long it is, or any features that it may include.
You can even print a couple and be like, hey, pick one of these for your rifle or whatever it may be. And then you said life is cool. Stuff like this replenishes my spiritual cup, and that's kind of what I want to close on. And while it is great for the movement and great for the determination of rights to get people involved, to bring people into 3D printing and in the gun space, 3D printed guns in general, it is, in a selfish way, so rewarding. It makes me feel full. It makes me feel happy. I didn't mean
to interrupt. You're giving them the best gift you could ever give someone, the natural born right to defending themselves. Because without that, you're just a subjugated caste system, man. At the end of the fucking day, truly, like, hopefully we, whether in this lifetime or another lifetime, it's one of those things where you don't want it to come to it, but God forbid if it does, like, you have a fucking fighting chance, dude, and that's just a fighting chance to be free, whether it be free from the shackles of just consume, and you just want to do your own thing, like Dr. Death, doing his own like tobacco plant, just something as simple as that, to just literally being subjugated every day, and like you're lucky to wake up. I'll just leave it at that. You know what I mean? Like. That's what you have to look forward to, the fact that you get to wake up and maybe like get a few rations, just thinking to the people in Myanmar, man, just giving someone the fighting chance is the greatest gift you could ever give someone, man.
No, absolutely. And even just that information, right? I understand. You understand as well. Everyone that we talk to about it isn't going to 3D print a gun. That's not how things work. If they're not interested, but even just spreading the good word about legal, right? Like the good word about what's legal, the good word about what you can do, the good word about the state suppressing people. Right now, you should be telling everyone about the 3D printed legislation targeting 3D printers, CNC machines, small businesses. Kids STEM programs. I've already seen colleges and some high schools talking about scholarships being canceled for kids. We're talking about children.
They're robbing their futures, man.
They are, man, and it's sick. But that's where we come in. And I'm talking to you, the viewer. I'm not just talking to Wosha down here. We can do this, right? We say gun control's dead, colloquially it is. But here's the thing. We have to keep stomping on it. Sweep the Leg, right? That's a movie from your time.
Yeah. I think that was 84, 85. So get him. We need to start get him a body bag.
But no, I think those are great words to end on. Is there anything you want to plug? Everyone go follow Rights of Refusal. We'll shut it down. He posts stuff all the time. He loves to see your builds. I love to see your builds. If you build something fun,
For sure.
tag us. Go shoot it. Go take a picture with whatever material you want on the gun. Whatever you throw on there. We would love to see it. We would love to see it. We love to see your crazy bullshit.
Anything. Even if it's janky as fuck and you're still dialing it in, dude, throw a Hello Kitty sticker on it. Throw a little trinket keychain hanging off the side. Just make it fun, bro. At the end of the day, that's all. It's not all we're into. That's not all we're about. But that is the majority of it, man. Because if you can't laugh at some shit and you can be like, "Yo, listen, it's jank as fuck," but the thing runs. How amazing is that? That it doesn't have to be. It's so forgiving. The 3D printed stuff and the filament and just everything in general. It's so forgiving that even this creation, if you can barely call it that, can still run. That to me is like the greatest, funniest thing of all, you know? Like, that's why when not to go off on a tangent, but real quick, when they're like doing roasts and shit, where it's just like, yo, fuck a layer line, bro. I want to know, does it shoot? Because you can make the thing look immaculate, spectacular, but I haven't seen it shoot. Can it go 500 rounds without fucking up? So it's like, dude, I will take the guy that's just like, or the gal, or whoever that are just like, I like it, and that's all I care about. Like, you like it, I like it. It doesn't have to be fancy, rattle canned, special filaments.
No,
if you're having fun, if you're having fun with it and you like it, I like it. And if you're having a good time, I'm having a good time, and that's what will spread it, man.
100%. And someone else is gonna like that gun. The most fucked up guns get some of the most love. Bado's AK gets a ton of love.
Dude, that thing's. Banksy couldn't fucking paint that thing. That thing is a work of art, dude.
100%.
Unironically.
It's so cool to see whatever you want to do. And you mentioned painting. Hey, if you want to mix it up and try some camo out, there's plenty of patterns from Crawdad, the great people at Rattler Innovations.
Let's go.
You can buy from them. Please support them. They release sample patterns and say, hey, these are all samples. Try them out. And so you can try these things out. You can, like you said, we're talking about a few dollars on some keychain tags, and you can hang charms on them like Call of Duty. You can... The gun is your oyster. The world is your oyster. You can do whatever you want.
And the best part is you don't have to worry about fucking it up, because you won't fuck it up. Because at the end of the day, if it gets to that point, 8-10 hours, you got a brand new one that you get a brand new clean slate, man. I remember
exactly. And you do this all the time. I don't want to interrupt too much, but you do this all the time. You say, "No, I'm not feeling that build anymore. Let me throw a different color on it. I'm going to arrange these colors. Actually, I'm going to put this color here, print a lower in this, and move it to another one." You can do that. There's no rules, assuming you're in a state where this is legal and follow your local laws, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
You have the power. You don't have to ask anyone. You don't have to go to the FFL. You don't have to fill out a training.
And that's what they hate the most, man. So all this legislation prior to 3D printing depended on manufacturers, companies with headquarters. We've decentralized it. Like, that is like the most beautiful thing in the world, and this is what they're having such a hard time. So they're not only trying to create legislation right now, but they're trying to make it so it can follow the next 10 years. We're like, no, dude, like you said, colloquially, gun control is dead because we've decentralized it. We don't have to connect it to the internet to print anything. Everyone has archived the STLs. I have, compressed about 50 gigs, probably more at this point. I actually had to get like a dedicated second drive for a lot of my stuff. It's yours.
The toothpaste is out.
It's yours. It's yours. The toothpaste is out of the tube. It's yours to enjoy and do whatever you want with. I created a little. I printed a little pink Glock for my friend's Labubu. I don't know how you Zoomers pronounce this shit, but I think it's Labubus, the little doll things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I printed her a little pink Glock for her Labubu. It's like a little charm for it.
Totally.
Little things like that, man, go a long way.
Such a long way. There's the glong keychains. Everybody loves the glong. Show them the glong video. They'll be singing the glong song. And I don't want anyone today to come away black-pilled. I know it's sometimes it's hard. I know sometimes it's frustrating to not get a yes or not get an immediate yes. But here's the thing. You just got to spread the word, right? You've just got to be honest, be forthcoming, be enthusiastic in spreading the word, because guess what? We've won the battle, like you said. We just need to free our comrades, make sure no more of them get locked up in jail. We've won the battle. We all have these files. They're everywhere. They are proliferated. To the law enforcement listening to this right now, get fucked. Get fucked. Hello, get fucked. We have won. And we will continue stepping on the throat. He's throwing you a heart. I'm not going to throw you a heart. I'm actually.
Ironically, of course. No, unironically, no, please.
And we've talked about Aves. At the end here, he's got the Aves PSR shirt on.
Yes. The Alpenflage.
With the Alpenflage. Super cool. So cool. Again, thanks for coming on, man. Hit us up.
Thanks for having me, man.
If you have any questions, and if you have any questions about helping people, if you're like, hey, what should I talk to people about? What should I recommend? We're always open to help you out. We may not answer immediately, but we'll get to you. And that is what I challenge you to do to other people. The state wants to suppress you. The state wants you under their thumb. They do not want us to have these freedoms. Do not give these up.